Hey! Welcome everyone. As always, we are checking our audio and video. So, as you know, we're still learning. But welcome to the 10th session of AI Talks, where we'll be talking about the efficient ways, strategies of incorporating the AI within your organization, how to build the culture of integrating AI within every single process, operation, not only the product. So this session is not focused on developing, on using AI in order to streamline your specific product. It is focused on improve the productivity and efficiency in your organization to build the curiosity in your employee and the willing to use the AI in their day-to-day tasks. Mm-hmm. So, as usual, we're starting with some updates. Then we will go to the main topic. And I think it's now 17 minutes ago or 18 minutes ago, Mistral again dropped the magnet link in X. This is the usual way how they announce models, and we're a big fan of it, comparing to OpenAI when they said that we'll have something and then we can't use it, and waiting for months for it. So yeah, we finally have multimodal open source model, which is amazing. We can't wait to test it.
We cannot confirm anything.
Yep. Yes. we weren't able even to download it, but it's actually downloading right now. So after today's session, we will be able to play with it. What we saw, it should be 12 billion parameters, and I think it's called Mistral. So big kudos to Mistral for continuing bringing extreme value to the open source community. Thank you.
Yep. Hopefully people can see us and hear us, right? Can see that we are live, but just want to make sure. We have people in the chat already, or if somebody can give us a thumbs up or a message that they are able to see the stream. I think it should be okay.
I see that it's fine. So
okay.
Yep. I guess the next big update is for which everybody is talking in the past month. It's actually the new way of coding. So Cursor, the tool called Cursor, actually developed ID, which is pretty. It looks exactly the same as Visual Studio Code. Mm-hmm. It's extremely seamless experience to move from Visual Studio Code to Cursor. So actually, it's you can import all of your plugins, your shortcuts, keys, etc., and everybody can code with this tool. It's purely amazing. We'll have, as promised, after this session, we'll have a demo where my son, who never done anything in terms of coding, because he's all in gaming, but he was able to create a first-person shooter pretty close to Counter-Strike for about a few days.
Yep.
So we'll be able to see the recording of his work after the session. But so the tool is there's a free option where you can play with it. It supports all the major models. The best results are coming with Quad 3.5 Sonnet at the moment. We can't wait to see the new GPT model coming in this or next month, or yeah, we'll see. Big announcement, I guess, again. But you can also provide your own API key for, let's say, local model, but it's relatively I would say the price is it's okay. I think it was $20 for the personal license and 40 for if you like to get it for the company where you have central billing, etc. But it is something which really streamlined the work of, and it's totally new way of developing. It's actually, you just need to use English. And of course, if you have the development background, IT background, you can pretty easily learn the practices where you can build the application. Actually, even if you don't know the practices, you can speak with it. And you can ask to be following best practices, create and actually the tool can create files for itself. It can, the biggest differentiator between this tool and the other is that it's called Composer, and it actually can manage multiple files.
Yep.
Can create files, can modify files, you can put, let's say, in the console you can refer to documents that you have, you can refer to web search, web links, and it's really amazing. I think it's this is definitely the future of how to say, if I can say, professional development, and not only, but it will allow everybody to build code.
Yeah. And I think it's great that it uses Visual Studio Code as the basis, so people can easily jump into it, and it's very familiar as an interface.
This was a very smart move. At the end, Visual Studio Code is open source, and they just worked. And it was absolutely, it's really easy to move forward. Why I said that for professional coding? Because there is also another layer coming on top of the cursor. So we know that in AI, the things happen quite fast. And it's called Rapid Agent. It is actually, I know that we discussed multiple times about tailing. So it's actually even taking care of additional things like installing packets, creating the overall structure. So it's just, no, it's not just, but it is taking care for the end-to-end creation of the actual solution. I think don't stop there, because it takes care even with the deployment of the solution. So you can get a virtual machine. Right now I think they support Vanilla.js and there's something else. So if you'd like to have this absolutely end-to-end experience, so imagine that you said that creating this application is this, and with few buttons, this application is running live, accessible to everybody, because with the cursor you created it, localhost, it's you have to do some stuff. With Rapid you have absolutely the entire life cycle. You have multiple options. It's like SKUs in every cloud provider, so the virtual self-hosted virtual machines where you can choose how many compute you need, etc. But it's amazing. And the funny thing here is that you have direct integration with Cursor. So you can work with Cursor and actually deploy everything in Rapid. I mean, with few clicks. So as there's popular, the things escalate quickly in that direction. And with both tools, everybody now can program. For example, you need a tool for, let's say, something, for, let's say, simple, and to have it, you just need to know English, or I didn't try, let's say, other languages, but I guess it will work the same.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, yeah.
But even that,
since an LLM is behind it, it should work.
Yeah. So people said that it's not that good, but as we love to give the example of the virtual machines in the past, where they took like 50% of the resources, and now they don't take resources because they're running on separate hardware. We'll get in there pretty quickly.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting development for these tools, because generally people don't. They are already using AI for coding. I mean, Copilot is used in a lot of enterprises, plugins. So while this is not something new, they built an interesting kind of add-on to the way the current kind of Visual Studio add-ons work. And the only thing that frustrates me personally, I mean, I think we share this, is the traffic goes through them, which is something we don't like. And if you followed us before, you know that we are proponents of close, kind of open source, but retaining your privacy as well, not only being stuck with a single vendor. So the reason why they've chosen to to channel all this traffic through them, I don't know what the reason is. I haven't researched on it, but I guess it's they have to have a subscription, or they have to sell the service somehow. But that would also push the other tools that use open source models and kind of local infrastructure to be better and reach that level of efficiency and just the results themselves. So I think these tools would only get better, and Cursor will probably not be the last tool that we mentioned here.
Absolutely. There's for example, I guess you've heard about Aether. It is a free open source tool which was I think for a while available, and it actually becomes better and better. Again, you can do a lot of stuff with it, even outperform Cursor in some of the areas. The biggest benefit of Cursor is actually the seamless experience. It's like the iPhone. I mean, you have you've been using Visual Studio, and it's actually exactly the same. You're not going out of your development platform, so you have all the, again, shortcuts, etc. But for example, with Aether you can achieve almost the same, even better results. Again, it's a bit like, how to say, I would say open source Linux style, with also it's actually the console and you're doing everything with the console, but again, you can refer to files, you can change multiple files, you can ask the model, you can use it with any single model and nothing leaves your computer. There is another project, I think it's called Z. I didn't try it. I've heard about it, but I think that you're absolutely right, and this will even develop further. Here it's important, we'll be talking this in the next session, in one of our next sessions, but because you brought the point, it's really important the organization to have clear, how to say, strategy and plan of how to separate the usage of local models and closed source models in the cloud. You should have some process ways where people can pretty quickly navigate and have the appropriate platform and tools which model to use for their work. This can be, of course, even automated behind the scene, and you can take care of these decisions. But for the proprietary data, let's say for your most important sensitive data, especially if you're an organization which is doing some let's say patents or working in healthcare, finance sector, governance, etc., you definitely need to have this separation and put everything which is important local. And as Nikki mentioned, not use the most powerful models at the moment, but again, it's always a trade-off.
I mean, generally, AI inference is getting cheaper every month. I mean, OpenAI has adopted this approach and other vendors to cut down on the prices because they are pressured by local models. I mean, local models, by open source models, which is good for everyone. I mean, AI last year used to be so expensive to run, and the more you scale, the more the bill kind of skyrockets. Now, I actually see a reduction of the cost while adding more use cases in the mix. So things are getting better from that perspective, and I think the idea to have that AI will grow into much larger models, I think that's not going to be the case, at least in the short term, just because they want to retain the market, and companies are becoming cost conscious on these projects. So it's important to make sure. It's like we are repeating. We said this multiple times. We're kind of repeating history with the cloud and how cloud was adopted. Maybe things are moving a bit faster compared to how things evolved in the cloud, but similar, the similar progress. And just to close out on the code tools is, I think, the biggest benefits. I mean, what Nikki opened up with, that we're going to show a demo of his son doing this, who has no idea how to do this, and the idea of having kids actually being able to code and create content, and that's really democratizing coding. I mean, and that's essentially what it does. So
it's like a magic wand.
Yeah,
you can create whatever you would like.
We'll see. I mean, software will probably get cheaper, a lot cheaper compared to what it was before.
Absolutely, for sure, it would get a lot cheaper. And there are still people who are looking forward in learning programming. There's some doubts of how young people learn programming. Everybody has personal opinion. Ours is not. English is much better language than the others. But again, of course, there will be some issues here. Anyway, moving forward, with Nikki mentioned about the cheaper and cheaper inferences. One of the important aspects in this.
By the way, we had a comment that our audio is a bit low again, so we want to shout a bit maybe.
Thanks for that. Trying to improve it as much. Hopefully next time will be better. So the data quality is also playing a key role in getting better open source models, and which of course are cheaper at the end. Because if you remember, the Llama 3.1 was trained, actually the other models are used to create very high quality data, which of course bring the efficiency, and actually smaller model can perform much better.
Yeah.
So talking about that, there's a new player on the market in that, and it's called Cerberus, and they were able to take the crown from Grok. And now they provide the fastest inference of open source models, achieving 450 tokens per second
on the
70B. And I think Grok was
400, I don't know.
250, I think. It was pretty significant difference, to be honest. So it was almost double the performance, which is at the end is proving what we discussed multiple times, that there will be custom silicons that actually will be able to handle the inference, and the video card will no longer be used for inference.
Oh yeah, and I think, they're trying to, with the AI arena in general, people are trying to get other people's attention by, shouting out records and showing what they were able to achieve in labs. I think for us as people who are actually implementing this sort of stuff, it's important to see the facts. And sometimes, when you start building solutions using these offerings, it becomes apparent that not all is true. So take it with a grain of salt, but it does show you the amount of innovation and investment that's being made in AI inference to make it cheaper and faster, because that's what's really preventing us from going stronger and having even smarter solutions and better applications.
So Yeah, it's all the major cloud providers are working on this. They're not sharing much information, but most probably a lot of them already replacing the inference part in the integrated solution with these custom silicons. Microsoft, Facebook, all of them are in that area. So they're talking about the new models and improvements. There were some news last week about the new way of training open source models called reflection, and which actually beats the majority of even closed source models. So the model is 70B. So this was fine-tuned of on 3.170B. They said that the larger models coming, the fine-tuned Llama 3.1 405B is coming as well. And the actual result of the benchmarks was truly amazing.
Mm.
However, at the end, there's some concerns in this thing. So we discussed multiple times about the benchmarks that people should try the models by themselves to check if it's a good fit for their day-to-day needs, because these benchmarks are actually not that hard, can be passed or get higher result of the models if actually the model is focused and trained and fine-tuned on the actual benchmarks. There were multiple sources claiming that this was the case, and also when this model, so actually they didn't share the weights. So there were some evidences, I would say, at least some post inhibitors which looks like that this is just a quad 3.5 sonnet wrapper with custom prompt instructions, or it could, it's actually, this can be achieved with custom prompts. So we'll see. It was, we were pretty excited. We thought that we were going to test it, to share more with it, but taking this news, actually we decided to pass on. Talking about the prompts, there is huge improvements. People start talking about super prompts, new way of doing prompting, trying to actually put the models to be creative and being able to be more diverse. I guess you saw this interview of Andrei Karpathy talking about the robots, but he said about the models, training the models, there is this issue with the model collapsing. So if you ask the ChatGPT to tell you a joke, usually tell the same joke all the time, or maximum up to 3.
Yeah, tell me a joke. Yeah.
So there should be a way to, being able to extract forcing the model using these prompts. This is one of the way, which we can do as, let's say, consumers, to force the model to think more, let's say, to extract its knowledge and being able to pick what you're looking for from it. So there's also good sources in that direction about some advancement in the prompt techniques. I'll be happy to put it in the description.
Yeah, we haven't spent a lot of time in these sessions to talk about prompting, because we kind of believe that prompting is sort of a passing thing, and it will be superseded by models doing that, or smaller models helping out users with prompting. But it's one of the first things people actually get into when they start using generative AI. I mean, first thing that you need to understand to properly extract the maximum value of a certain model or a solution. So maybe at some point it will be good for us to maybe talk about some of these developments and what do we think are the best practices and some points about prompting, because I think it's a topic that people are want to know more about, just for kind of beginner folks.
This is also tightly connected with the actual adoption. So people which are not familiar with the proper prompting strategies actually will do not, prompt with room for improvement, and actually they'll get similar results.
Yeah.
So this area is actually, it's not only for beginners, there's some prompts which are, I would say, the majority of people will not be able to understand at all. There are some these crazy characters which actually force the
It
models.
looks like coding more than prompt.
It looks indeed, it's actually coding, because, at the end the models were, they understand best HTML, I would say, because they were calling data, which is internet, and the entire internet is almost HTML, JavaScript, So, these prompts are, as people call them, super prompts, are in this kind of format. They have these weird symbols, and actually being able to force the models to do very interesting stuff. So definitely I would like to share, because as Nikki mentioned, it's pretty connected with.
I think it's going to be an interesting topic for more people. Yeah.
So moving forward with the news, there are some advancement in the from Google AlphaFold. They released actually something. So if you know, AlphaFold is it's predicting it's actually predicting the cooperation between the molecules and the outcome of these, and they created something called AlphaFold Proto, which is going even further, with which you can create protein binders. So in short, this could help much. This could help enormously in creating protein binders, for example, for diseases, cancers, etc., all the diseases, and be able to target these molecules extremely efficiently, if I can say it that way. So in this domain, this is a huge advancement, let's say that way. We've been discussing that soon, the AT&T AI is bringing a lot of value, and the technology in general is during the years was making the people's lives much easier, and this is one of the things that it's proving that. So the lifespan will definitely have big impact in the lifespan. As Nikki said, in every area, the price for having these magics and amazing stuff right now is going cheaper and cheaper. So
yeah, I think and we're also seeing a lot of more developments on tools that can search or can create scientific discoveries.
yeah.
Just yesterday I saw something new that showed up, and it's after all, generative AI, one of the reasons why there was so much investment was the kind of the noble cause to push science forward. So I think I personally like this more than compared to some of the other uses that we have for Gen AI. But from what we can see and what the consensus is, a lot of the scientists are already using AI. It makes their job so much faster in terms of the research documentation and now discoveries like this will probably will push science a lot further in the next 10 years, I guess. So yeah, it's maybe we can demo some of these open source tools. There's also a lot of papers on Archive. I think we need to talk about Archive one time on the show here, because it's one of the best places to actually look for the real science behind generative AI and how people are looking at it from a totally different perspective from the commercial one that most people are seeing it.
There's even tools that can help in summarize and see the latest and explain all the things in easy way to consume. But definitely, I would say Archive and Twitter are the best sources of latest AI work, advancement, news, etc. So, last news that we'll be touching today is the game jam. This is something that we wouldn't thought it's possible, but at the end it's a neural model based on game engine.
We know everything is possible at this point.
Yeah, at this point actually everything is possible, but right now the models can, let's say in simple words, the models can generate games in real time, which is, there were a demo of Doom, which is actually everything is generated from a model behind the scene, and it's it's absolutely mind-blowing. This will have a huge impact on the gaming industry. Imagine that you have a game which is actually totally different each time you play it.
Yeah.
And it is generated not following any scenario, but I mean, through this you see how the model is thinking. The imagine, if I can say, of the model.
Imagination. I think the biggest difference is because games are usually rendered. You know, that's why you have all the infrastructure, all the needs for compute and gaming cards and everything else. But here it's a totally different approach. I mean, we talked about how Sora will change the entertainment industry. It's pretty much the same, but in gaming, where content is being generated on the fly, and I don't know. I think that would allow for a totally different experience for people. I don't know how people will perceive it, because games will be different, very different from what they were. I think people will still be reminiscent of how games work and how you can play them the same way. So this would be more of a, I don't know, Minecraft is the closest thing that I can think of, but generating it on the fly.
Yeah.
That's why Minecraft is such a fundamental game nowadays. It's genius the way it works. Minus the graphics.
I think that's also what the beauty becomes. But
we'll see. I mean, we're not very gamers when we kind of past this point, I guess, in our lives, but I think a lot of money will be poured into it going forward, for sure.
Yep. And remember, you can create your own games.
Static ones.
Yeah, pretty quickly. So, that was for the updates from our point of view, the most important updates. And let's go to the main topic. Remember that our idea for the adoption framework have different phases. And if you remember, this phase actually, so the AI competency and culture development was started pretty early, together with the leadership. The first phase where we have the leadership alignment, the willingness of building and incorporating the AI within the organization. So remember that we discussed that actually some of the culture, the culture development and AI competency is starting at this point. And it is responsibility of the leaders to do some basic, to take care of the basic stuff. So I remember, if you remember, in the second phase where we have the CUE establishment, actually, of course, we discussed this, depending on the organization, the CUE can be just a logical unit, actually, the leadership can take care of a small organization, but actually, these teams should start one of their really important work should be focused on streamline the AI adoption with the organization and building this culture. So we're talking too much about the organization focusing on improving their product and services with AI. We saw this, it's been a year and even more than a year, where the focus was totally in that direction. Very small amount of companies are thinking at all about people and people development, about productivity, efficiency.
They have a bunch of initiatives to improve it, but they were, for the most part,
it wasn't strategy.
They were not successful. A lot of money had been poured into optimizing productivity and upskilling people and making sure they perform at their best. But from what we saw in the past, these were not very. They didn't have much of an impact from what we saw.
No. So I think that they weren't able to see the potential. They weren't sure about the potential in AI. At the end, during that time, we didn't have these tools that we're talking right now. I'm sure that if people had the cursor before 1 year, the story would be a bit different. But definitely, it was treated as another new technology, like the cloud, to promote it. But it was harder, but with the time, it's actually right now organizations see that this will be the main differentiator between the companies. They see that actually I can improve the productivity of their employees, of the people, and actually can make the overall organization to move much faster. So, of course, it's. I've heard a lot of leaders saying that I need to replace my SaaS solution or my product, and I'm searching for solutions which are AI powered. And this perfectly makes sense. But in order to make a great AI powered solutions
or implement them,
you should think about how these people creating this solution can be efficient. How to streamline your the ability to build this solution, to make sure that these solutions are not only have this checkbox of AI powered, but they are built from people which are the people are AI powered. So you have to be sure that you have your people have the right tools. You have to be sure that you've been able to incorporate all of the AI companion, etc., within your organization in order the people who are responsible for building these tools to build the right tools at the end. So the benefits of having this, integrating AI within your organization and in your workforce are, I think, some of them are obvious, but we discussed with Nikki about the models being able to some even creative, innovative work. So they can help them to not only save time and coding faster, doing their job faster, but they can help even to create something which they weren't told that it's possible. They can bring new ideas. They can, helping people to become more curious. Even the example with the kids creating games, it's when you see that you can create your own things, that can, trigger your motivation. to be more creative instead of looking for waiting for solution, etc.
That was the example I was going to give. I love this example because typically in an organization, the reason why things are slow is because people rely on each other to do work. I mean, you wait on somebody else to do something for you, then you can continue with your work, and then the next person will wait for you. So when you multiply that wait time across the whole organization, that's why some of the projects have been stalling or not finishing at all, or multiple reasons. But the wait time between teams, and since we're in IT, we're very impacted by this usually, especially kind of in the old way of dealing things where you have separate teams working on something. And what this gives you is the ability to, it empowers you to do things that you have not been taught to do. Because you usually work in your realm, either you're a developer but you're not an infrastructure person, or you're a project manager but you're not an implementer, or you're a leader and you're not a technical person. And you can actually, to an extent, you can combine many of these roles together as long as you understand how to work with the tools, what the outcome should be, and you can validate this. It kind of takes away the fear of doing unknown things, something that you typically have to be trained on. And this is what we experienced with him. I mean, multiple times in the last couple of years since this thing started. We started doing things that we usually rely on somebody else to do. And that's how people. That's kind of one of the first steps that you see. I mean, in an organization, especially the big ones, people are trying not only being able to do their own work faster, which is true, but to me the real differentiator is doing things that you couldn't do before.
Yeah,
that's something that's really meaningful, and that's why we have this kind of description of an AI-powered workforce where they are empowered to do much more than they were supposed to do without giving out an extra effort, without having to retrain this skill.
Or investing in additional resources. So this is valid for, as you said, not only for relating to another team's people, but another technologies. In a large organization, you may see thousands of different softwares or solutions that everybody is using for something both during the years, and right now with AI you just don't need a lot of these. And as you mentioned, with this new way of coding the different tiers, you'll be able to create whatever you need in just like a few days. Some solutions which may take last year or 2 years ago, which may take even $1 million of investment of development of large.
But even if you pay $10,000 per year or something, or one time for a software that just moves files between one source to another, and you can do this with generative AI in 1 minute and deploy it in a matter. I mean, this is so different.
This is absolutely one of the best benefits of AI-powered workforce. So people become more creative, more efficient. They can do much more with appropriate tools. Another benefit of this, which is really, really important nowadays, is people which are using AI tools. They can adapt much faster to the changes. And as you see, the changes are moving. I mean, in the AI field, the changes are very high pace. I mean, it's the AI is moving much faster. So people adopting these tools, like for example, Cursor or whatever, it could be some central platform, whatever. You're building this curiosity in them. We saw this in. So we can be a good example, but our clients, the teams that are start adopting new AI technology, they really start looking for the latest news. They want to try it, and building this curiosity within the teams absolutely help with making sure that your team is staying on using the latest technologies.
Just look at the LinkedIn titles of people nowadays. I mean, because we were following this from the start, you can see gradually how titles of people change from marketing specialist to AI-driven marketing or consultant of AI, or slowly people are adopting it. And some of them are obviously doing it just because it's there's hype around it, of course. But even a fraction of these would move the needle and then say, okay, we have people who are actually using these tools. They figured out the power of it, and they can now implement it for their clients or whatever they're doing in their business.
Absolutely. And people really don't realize the actual value of efficient people. Let's say that way. Unfortunately, there's still this, let's say, mindset of thinking about working hours, let's say, from 9 to 5, etc., and not measuring people by actually what they're bringing to the efficiency. Because, but I think this is not a new problem. Yeah. But it would be, it would be resolved pretty quickly. Another benefit of having organization which the workforce is AI powered is that you'll be able to attract better talents. When you have the appropriate platform tools, let's say a learning strategy in place in your organization, you can pretty quickly see that in your organization, people from, as Nick mentioned, different domains, marketing, whatever, they are using AI in order to advance their actual work. It doesn't matter in which domain. Actually, we will attract people from these specific domains because they would like to move faster as their counterparts.
And I think also another point is if you're looking for a new company, and if you know that a company has employees who leverage AI, typically that will draw you in, because once you start using these tools and kind of integrate with your daily workflow, when you see people who don't leverage this power, you feel different working with them. I mean, it's not discrimination or anything, but you're
moving forward.
But you want to, you kind of feel the urge to tell them, guys, you can do this without any hassle. I mean, you can do this with just a prompt nowadays. You don't have to do it the way you've done it before. So if you are a person who knows that an organization is full of people who actually leverage AI, and you can learn and build on top of your knowledge, you're probably going to be more drawn to that company compared to an old-fashioned company who even restricts the use of generative AI.
This was very popular at the beginning.
It still is.
This is a different topic. We really don't want to go in that direction. We can talk a lot about the AI themselves, but it's like riding a bike or learning with someone which is just half of your performance. I mean, you'll be happy to help him, you really want to help him to advance. And
remember what we said on the first, I think it was on the first AI talk, said at some point the world will be differentiated by people who are using the tools and those who don't.
By the way, there's this article which I wrote 2 weeks ago, so you can check it, but just give a bicycle to the guys. In the shop to make the people more efficient. So all this is very nice. I mean, the benefits sounds pretty good, but this is similar to, let's say, cloud transformation, that you have all of your solution running on microservices, Kubernetes, you've been able to deploy without downtime. But as Greg Holt said, it's everything is hard at the beginning before getting better. So there is some challenges of moving in that direction, and the main challenge I would say is that usually people are afraid of new things. Almost every change, big change, is coming with some fear in all levels, in the leadership level, in the employee level. Everybody have different reason to be afraid, but the main one is that they just don't know the actual field, how this will change, will impact their lives. They are not sure. Especially this change right now, as we said multiple times, we are not sure what will happen after 2 days. There is magnet link, and boom, new model which can do
Much more,
which is AGI. So we don't know what will happen, and in this situation, this is actually the main challenge, which require a huge effort in order to make this kind of transformation and being able to incorporate AI to make people, how to say, calm, confident, curious to learn, the ways how they can use AI in their day-to-day work. Of course, there's also requirement of big investment, especially in the large organization, because this is not like the next town hall, the CEO to come and say, we're going to use AI from now on. This is definitely, how to say, it's a start.
He will say it, but it has to be backed up.
We have to be backed up, so there will be investment in learning and development plans, programs. We'll discuss this in details, which at the end will demand shifting in the organizational thinking and culture. Remember we discussed on the leadership alignment, the first meeting, how important is all the leaders to be aligned, to be on the same page, there to be good communication between the top management with the people within the organization, to think about how to create these messages, what would be their impact, to plan in advance. So this is definitely a big challenge that needs to be addressed. And as we said just a few minutes ago, the other challenge is that this is not a one-time effort. We discussed that actually it requires constant work and following the latest trends, because especially in nowadays, this morning we just discussed with Nikki that some of our clients are still using GPT-4. Some of them are using some preview version of GPT-4, and Nikki, as you mentioned, that there is the price when
the price is going down.
It's going down, and people don't know, they're just paying more and receiving less.
I can actually see something funny. People, when they have good results, they are afraid of changing the models afterwards.
I think this is more like with CI/CD development and actually solution development cycle, because if they have a good, let's say, practice of testing, etc., I think this should be just part of the life cycle.
It's easier said than done.
Of course, it's always, as I said, cloud native, all this microservices stuff, it was very easy to say it, and anyway. So what we can do with these challenges is starting, of course, with raising the AI awareness. There is one mistake that, not mistake, but something common, is that usually AI, especially last year, was something like a rocket science. Come on, AI, this is mathematics, statistics. It was pretty far away from the people, and here I would say that the ChatGPT playing a key role of showing people that, and especially with this direction of improving the new enhanced audio capabilities. All of this stuff is just helping to make AI more understandable, more usable for the masses. So you have to focus on showing your people that actually AI is something that can be used for every single task, for everybody working in your organization. And as we said, remember, I think we said this in one of our first sessions, that we don't believe that there's use case which can be handled by the AI, can be improved by the AI. So each person, it doesn't matter which field, of course, there will be different level of usage, different impact, but everybody can improve themselves by using the AI. So creating this is not something new. We had pretty, we've been able to advance in this development of, creating these strategies. It's not that different what I'm trying to say from the other transformations. So you have to create, different education materials, or you can buy them. This could be some videos, visuals, some articles, some materials which are appropriate for your specific domains, and it could be something short. The most important thing here is, as we said, is to be created in a way that's talking the same language as the different teams working in your organization.
Giving examples, people like this, when they see how this in practice can be implemented, from the trainings that we've done in the past, that's one of the more requested things from folks. They typically want to treat AI as a black box. They want to learn how to use it, but they don't want to know too much about it. They just want to know, okay, how can it solve my problem? And what do I need to do to actually get there? This is how people are treating AI, which is fine.
Which is even better.
To an extent, but if they do understand things better, they will probably get even better results in the long run. I think naturally people will learn more about generative AI as it kind of goes into people's lives. I mean, Apple Intelligence is coming soon into the devices. I mean, slowly but surely it's integrating into what they're doing. You cannot really avoid it at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. It will take some time.
Yes.
As you said, the large providers are also helping a lot with the AI adoption. So, as we said, thanks to ChatGPT, people no longer are afraid to that extent, which was at the beginning the black box. I don't think that the black boxes are something bad, because really people don't have to know how it's
still technology.
How the models are trained. This kind of stuff is not that important, but it's really important to be able to speak on their level, on their language. As you said, the use cases are absolutely the best way to showing them what can be done.
I think the bare minimum is for people to understand that this is not a server or a database that answers questions. It has a totally different way of working. I think that's sort of the minimum knowledge people need to figure out, so they can grasp the concept afterwards.
Agree on that. This will come with the time. When people become more and more curious, they will start thinking about how this is working actually, etc. But so just try to bring this AI awareness. You can create some workshops, seminars. You can have
you can follow AI talks as well.
You can follow AI talks. You can follow the latest newsletters, latest news. Which there's subscribe button. but just you can create this. I think workshops are also pretty useful, especially once you're able to recognize the people that are actually the AI champions, you can say that way. We'll discuss about them.
There's a lot of workshops nowadays. I mean, much more than what we had last year. So a lot more people are interested, obviously. So that will probably go on for the next few years until it.
Yeah, but this was no differences comparing to, let's say, the cloud adoption in the past. I mean, when we try to bring the awareness of
It's just that cloud adoption was for us, more or less.
Yeah,
Not for
it was
everyone.
hard, exactly. It was harder to explain the business how the cloud can help us, but it's pretty similar because you can always say that we can do
Just the impact
faster,
is-
we can move faster. The impact is greater and it's covered, let's say, bigger, more domains, if I can say.
Everywhere.
So really, it's really important here to create a personalized learning paths, if we can say that way, for the specific teams. That's we discussed that we have to see to what kind of extent people actually need to know AI. As Nikki said, it's good to know it in more details, but this will come with some time, and it will come for the teams that are needed, actually that are interested. So it's really the effort should be focused on identify the actual needs of the specific teams. And remember, we talked about this one of the CEO tasks was actually focused on that, to identify the areas where so all these use cases that Nikki mentioned can not only can but would be good examples of how people can use AI in order to streamline their work. So here you can do other things which are, I mean, it's pretty, we've been doing that, but you can create skill gaps analysis. Remember there's some frameworks which, you can use in order to have more structured way of assessing different teams, people, and their, how to say, current level of understanding AI in order to think about how to create their how to say path forward, actual learning path about the future jobs of the future, if we can say that way. So, for example, if someone was database administrator, maybe it would be easier for him to become a big data specialist. Or comparing to, for example, if someone was a developer, maybe it would be easier for him to become an AI engineer, and start building solution within AI. But again, the focus here is more like using the AI, and when you have by your workforce, and when you have some specific tasks, the first thing that you do is how I can resolve this task, how I can help me to resolve this task, how I can automate it in order to focus on the next task, or what kind of problems I can solve. So this AI skills gaps is it's more like focus on reskilling your team members. So it's definitely it definitely can help. It's important, and will help you with the creation of AI powered workforce. I can say that.
Meaning that we can talk about this for ages on the AI reskilling and just kind of the learning opportunities. But it's a matter of how the organization really treats training, how it usually gets new technology in. But at this point, it's really essential and necessary for people to be kind of a little bit pushed into learning this, because still there is resistance along the workforce to actually learn this or learn more about generative AI. And a strategy is needed for getting all of the workforce in line.
So definitely you have to build some kind of platform, or you have to provide them the tools. We will be talking about tools like Cursor, Radar, etc. But you also should provide them, let's say, something like Coursera, Udemy. You should sit down with your COE, the COE team, AI COE should sit down and identify the appropriate, the most appropriate courses and tailor them to the specific teams. For example, let's say I always, when we have a session with the executives, we always recommend doing AI 900, for example, from Microsoft, because it's covered the fundamentals. It's structured well. Okay, of course, there's some specific to Microsoft solutions, but this it brings you a pretty good foundation of how the AI is working. Even that your executive, it's nowadays. Remember, we're talking too much about this, but the differentiator in the future will be who is using AI, who's not. For people, for organization, and yeah, it's. So it's important in each specific team to have the access, and actually it could be even it could be part of the goal of the people. We'll be talking about this in a second, how you can measure the actual adoption, but they should have access to these courses. They should be able to choose. It could be again platform, but people should first have the ability to learn. And second, the guidance what to learn. Yeah. Because if you give to the, let's say, the CFO, for example, AI 102, that's this will have the other effect. Because when people see how hard is, how advanced is this, if you go in mathematics, etc., statistics, they will not going to be so excited. And going to learn, this kind of stuff. So, yeah,
there's so many courses. I even would, at this point, I would even recommend creating your own department or a team of training experts that are focused on AI, who will be doing this full time within the organization.
If it's large organization.
If it's large enough, yes.
Or you can outsource this.
Outsource it, but think about a focused approach. Don't rely only on trainings that you just throw out. Here, read this. Click the consent that you read it, and here you go. That's it. That would not have very good results. You need to have a sort of a structured approach where you do a training, you do some feedback loops of what people have actually learned. Maybe kind of the project-based learning is also another way of kind of pushing this information out. But don't take this lightly. Treat it as something important that will have a very positive result afterwards.
That's why it's important, because what you brought a good example. I love to say this is the checkbox adoption. It's indeed just checkbox, but that's why it's important also to have some kind of reward mechanism, because reward mechanism could be
reinforcement learning.
Good job. But you can reward people passing specific certificates. Not only, as you said, if it's just a consent, people may not even read it. But
they won't.
Yeah, it's really, it could be like part of the goals of the people. You can put. This was the case, pretty similar to the cloud. For example, you can put goals to your managers, how much people get certified. You can put goals to get certified people to get promotion. Nothing new. Again, there's large frameworks, which we will not going to invent.
But the stake is higher.
The stake is higher. Yeah. It's much more important. Let's say that way. It's much more important. So that's why we're discussing in other topics, but you have to try tackling these challenges from all possible directions. Not only, as Nicky said, just providing some trainings that are really mandatory for all people, but providing in an appropriate way and trying to convince people to do it from multiple directions. So one important role of having success on this is to identify your AI champions, if we can say that way. But in general, these are people which are willing to that are adaptive, that like changes, that are curious, that are bringing the innovations to your team. That actually, in general, you already get the majority of them in the AI COE, but so this could be people from the COE, of course. But these are the people which will help the others, will convenience the others that actually this is really important. This could be a totally non-technical people, as Nicky mentioned. There is no, I mean, everybody right now is impacted and will be impacted. So it could be people like, accountant, etc. For example, if one accountant sees that there is a solution that helps them to do their job faster, it's even if it's not AI. So this kind of people should be looking forward to help you with the AI adoption.
I just thought of an idea. A 10-second thing you can do is create a small honeypot for your AI champions. Just send an email out and say, we'll give you free AI capacity to run your experiments. You're probably gonna get like 0.5% of the company, but you will find your champions very easily this way, because I can bet you that you already have in your teams people who are already looking into this, and they just need to have an opportunity to start using it, because most people are afraid to take the next step and spend money on their own. For ChatGPT, for anything, But once you tell them, I'll give you as much as you need, go and do something, regardless of the result, you will find a core set of people who are probably going to be dispersed, not only in IT, but across the business. But you'll find people who are really interested, because they are willing to spend their time, free time, or work time, to do something without a real project, just an idea that they have. But these are the people you want.
You want these people, absolutely. And it's actually, you want the guys from the COE and with pretty similar profile. They should be able to communicate with the others. They should be well recognized.
Probably the COE needs to organize this,
Absolutely, this is a job to the COE. But once you find these champions, again, it doesn't matter if it's the COE.
Power users.
This group will expand. So you start with the COE when you already filtered your most, your best talents. But as we said, this is starting pretty early. So it could be even before having the COE. So you identified your champions. They can take part in the COE. But this, let's say, your goal is actually everybody to be a champion, right? So you really want to expand the ring, of the AI champions. So in order to do that, you have to provide remember doing the capacity proposal from Nicky, and once you identify them, you can, for example, start sending them to events. For example, you can send these guys to Ignite. You can put a little bit more effort in your AI champions in order to improve their, to help them to advance faster, because as Nicky said, with just one training in your system where everybody have to click consent, this will not going to work. This is just a single communication channel.
Actually, people would be relieved and glad that that's the only thing that they have to do with AI. Let me click this, I met my goals, I learned about AI, great, and that's it.
So, absolutely, these guys, you should have bigger support for them. You should provide them.
Use them as an example. Show them. Showcase what they've done. Even if the result is not mind blowing, the reason that they did it alone and they researched and makes worth the whole effort.
Reward their effort.
Yeah,
Reward their effort and provide them appropriate tools. For example, remember we discussing that we have to identify use case in the specific teams. You will need this domain knowledge. So guess who will lead the project from the specific domain, from the team?
It's not IT.
It's your AI champions within this team. So give them this project, give them this opportunity, give them the resources that they need, the tools, the budget for, let's say, events, workshop. Make sure that they have enough time to learn and to spend actually to put some effort in the direction where they can learn, practice, and spread their knowledge within your organization. You may even think about something like AI ambassador programs within your organization. Each month you can choose a new AI ambassador who is joining the team. You have to speak loud, right? And these guys should have some incentives, so they can have even benefits, which may. So again, here the example I think it was very, very good, I would say, because if you put some, let's say, communication letter where we have 5 vouchers for, let's say, Microsoft Ignite this year, there will be a lot of people which will just want to go to excursion or something like this. You don't need this. You first need to identify the people which are really curious, and then once you identify that, to start providing the benefits to them. And but you definitely can provide some benefits if and speak loud what would be the benefits. For example, this example, ambassador program, you can say everybody who is in this ambassador program getting the Fridays only for AI initiatives. For example, because
you still have to track the progress. I mean, of course, you have to monitor what they're doing, but as we said in the previous series, you are putting faith in generative AI. You're expecting it to pay out. So you have to put faith and investment before you get the result. That's it's not immediate. It's a culture change. People have to realize that it's much bigger problem than just technology right now.
Absolutely. And here's the key role of encouraging people to experiment. So because as you know, we're doing trainings it focuses on AI. But what we usually hear is when we will have the labs. So if you have only
or do something practical,
let's do something practical, because people we are built like this. I mean, it's the best way to learn something is practice. So you have to encourage people to do experiments, and in order to do experiments, they should have the appropriate platforms where they can do the experiments. So you can start with small scale, like you can, for example, for IT, you can, of course, Visual Studio subscription is absolutely the easiest way to do that, but you can create some playgrounds. Even, the OpenAI have playground, all of the major
sites, local machines,
absolutely, for
open source.
You can. Right now you can run the AI in your own lab.
Phone, tablet.
So the thing is that you can create some labs, you can create some scenarios where people not only learn, but also they experiment. So imagine when you're learning something, and there will be this curiosity, there will be this thing, I want to try this. And people should have a very easy and fast way to be able to try it. It could be the central platform, which is, total sandbox where people can create something, it's wiped out after, let's say, a few hours, etc., etc. But this is fundamental for encouraging people to experiment. If they don't have the tool, they will not be able, they will not want to experiment because it takes a lot of time. I have to create a ticket request to be approved, 10 teams, etc.
Make it accessible as possible. Yeah.
Exactly. This will help. This will help with bringing the confidence. Encourage people to do that because remember, we have this fail fast approach of things. So in order to fail, so people shall start experiment, and you should start providing to feeding them with the use cases, as Nikki said, where they can experiment, which will help for them to bring the confidence. When they fail once or 2 times, 3 times, when you create a project,
on the 4th time they will succeed.
They will succeed. And they should not be afraid to invest their time, invest for some small amount of money, but you should invest in some failures, let's say that way. So you should be ready with, that's, again, it's nothing new. Remember when we had the cloud transformation, we were starting with some small project, we were learning from this project at the end, right? So part of this journey, part of these use cases, remember when we discussed that this is the job of the CEO is to identify use cases which are small, which are not that impactful, that have some impact, but you have to start with the leadership should make sure that it's okay for people to fail. It's important to learn as much as possible. I can give you a great example with SpaceX Starship. When the news see the rocket is blowing, they said, "Oh, SpaceX failed, big fail again. The rocket's blown away." And when you have at least put some small effort to understand what's the main goal. The main goal is the rocket was planned to be blown. The idea was to learn as much as possible during this, let's say, 5-minute flight. Here is the same case. You just really want the people to learn as much as possible, to get this, to spark the
innovation.
So absolutely, tolerate risk. You should. By the way, people usually share success stories. We all seen this newsletter, success story. You know that it's actually pretty good practice also to share the fail stories. You know what that means? It means that it's not a problem. I mean, we're sharing experience. This is experience. It could be shared in a way which shows what went wrong. That's why we have these retrospective sessions, etc. What went wrong, what can be done, what we've learned. This is the important part. But when you share the successes and failures, you're showing that actually it's okay, it's fine. I mean, we learn something, and this is the bigger benefit of that.
It's part of the journey, yeah. I mean, because this is a totally new area of kind of development,
which is moving very fast.
It's moving very fast. There's so many things happening. It's absolutely necessary for people to fail, because it's not gonna. You cannot always. Every project cannot be successful, especially in this time. But just what we're witnessing, and despite how AI is being portrayed in the news and markets and everywhere else, there's still a lot of success stories that need to be showcased and mentioned. And I think it's just a matter of time before more and more they become more and more compared to kind of the overall number of.
Yeah, absolutely. So another way to do that is we said about the workshops, but we can do even hackathons where people can share their ideas.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And that could you can provide again some rewarding for the winners. Where remember, it's important to address the challenge from all angles that you have. I mean, if you, of course, you can have one success in one of the direction and the other, but remember that this is how to say, it's like a snowball effect. You know, you're starting with one thing, then you're bringing another, you have constant effort, you're providing the trainings, you're providing the tools, you're encouraging the experiments, you create events, newsletters, you're bringing the incentives, rewards, etc. All of these combined in the end will have, will draft you to the, will bring you to the...
and also hackathons serve as a way to learn from other people. I saw this. We had a hackathon a couple of weeks ago, and people from different levels, different understanding of AI, generative AI, they started learning from each other. So one person showed something, the others kind of picked up on it. It's sort of a good knowledge sharing session, kind of focused effort. And usually hackathons don't bring a lot of, I mean, there's some good ideas coming out of them, but I think the most benefit you get from these kind of competitions is for people to work together on this specific arena and learn from each other. And then after the hackathon, they usually say, now I know how to do something. Let me experiment a bit on my own now. And then some new ideas start flowing in.
Yeah, it's. I think that, as you said, the knowledge sharing impact is the most important, especially in large organization where you can see how
you spark others,
you see actually how the other teams are moving. You can be even amazed in some. I mean. For example, when we've been working with our clients from, let's say, healthcare, even that this is not our primary domain, I mean, we are IT guys, when we see that some huge improvement in drug development, let's say, thanks to the AI, it's, you feel so happy with that, if I can say it that way. Hackathons are great, absolutely. Important. We're discussing a lot of ways of, let's say, improving and adopting the AI culture within your organization, but it's really important to have some way of measuring this, because you have to have some structure, strategy and plan, which, if not including the way of measure, you actually will not know where you are, what to do actually. I mean, that's the main reason of having the feedback, right? Because without the feedback, we are moving blind. So we have to develop this, if we can say, the AI competency tracking strategy, where of course you can have, qualitative assessment and quantitative metrics. The easiest way of having, quantitative metrics could be, like AI certificates or training passed within this team, hackathons, initiative projects launched, and it could be even cost savings thanks to the AI, time, etc. Qualities could be, as always, it's a bit different, but difficult. But you can evaluate the knowledge of the people by doing some tests, like some surveys. You can gather you should gather the feedback from the AI champions and project leaders and from the people within the organization in general, for everybody, to see what they heard. And in that way, you'll be able to track. So you'll be able to do multiple things with this. You can share the good result and focus on them, showing that the organization is moving in the right direction, which again will help, will increase actually the effect, and also see where you have to work more. Especially as Nikki said, in large organizations, it's for sure there will be teams which would be more resistant. This could be based on their actual work, let's say where they are in how connected they are with the AI, So it's it's important to know how you're moving, because at the end you're investing money. That's if we can do it, say it simple, straightforward. So you have to invest in the right places. So you can do this. These feedback sessions, as we said, this can be surveys, but it could be also part of the actual managers, employees, responsibilities to gather this feedback. And it's really important as the tools, the way of giving feedback to be accessible and to allow, how to say, to not to force, but to allow people to provide it, to make people willing to provide the feedback. This thing is, let's say, to be anonymous. You can do it in per team basis, because actually I think it's per team basis is pretty good start. I mean, but if people have to put their names, most probably you will not get honest feedback. I mean, this was some general thing, not that stuff. So it's having the feedback, reviewing the feedback regularly. This feedback exercise is not one time. I mean, this measurement is not one time event. It should be done constantly or quarterly, just to see how you're moving. You have to see what kind of processes you can change, but measurement is absolutely crucial.
I think one more point that people may be missing when they're deploying AI applications is to leverage as much as possible the data they get from the actual tool itself. So when you're building something that you're going to be giving out to, let's say, the whole org, make sure you architect it in a way that you can extract the maximum metadata and information from the usage itself. Because that will give you a much better understanding how they're being used. I mean, do we have certain part of the company that does not use the tool? Do we want to focus effort on that specific department or division or whatever it is? Maybe that type of business does not know how generative AI can be used to optimize
Check
their
the
work.
reason why they are not using it.
Just this is free money to say, because you're just getting data. You can use AI very easily to analyze this information in that scale and figure out the patterns and the kind of the usage. And so it's really important to get these metrics from the solutions that you're building, because it allows you to glance better into the organization. That's one of the things that you're missing initially, because you can ask people questions, but if they don't want to answer, you cannot force them into answering.
Absolutely.
But when you see how they're using the tools, that can give you a much better idea. Okay, a lot of people are using this type of model. Maybe they need to be aware of the model, the whole model catalog that we have,
that's a very good point. Just leveraging the actual data as a single, not single, but as a.
And the way capacity and AI is being rolled out, you already have this by default. It's already available. If you have integration with authentication and others, you can identify that traffic and realize, here we need to be
to put more capacity here. This is absolutely crucial, and let's say, it's really important from the good feedback in terms of pure data, and you can drive with this, let's say that way. So, I think actually this was on a high level.
We can talk for another hour on scaling and kind of the people perspective, but
if you can remember one important thing is make sure that you're paying enough attention to your employees. make sure that you're doing whatever is needed to make them more efficient. We already talked multiple ways of doing that, but it's really efficiency, productivity of the people would be something which already increased a lot. And remember, having virtual organizations with a lot of people, if the people are not working at their full potential, which right now is not 100%, but thanks to AI it could be 20,000%, you're not that competitive. I mean, there are the smaller players, smaller organizations which are moving much faster, and thanks to the AI, they will be able to achieve much more. This may take some time, but that's why it's important to have this strategy in place.
Excellent.
Okay, so thank you, and enjoy the session from my son afterwards, which will be recorded and uploaded with the video later.
Thank you everyone for joining today, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yep.